My sister slept with my boyfriend for 8 months while mom defended her and called me jealous, so I sent a gift to her wedding that exposed everything. Moments later, her fiancé walked out. The guests gasped, and what happened right after left the whole family stunned beyond words. I'm Madeline, 24, and I spend my days behind the counter at a CVS in a sleepy Ohio town, counting pills and smiling at customers who barely look up from their phones. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. Honest work that pays for my one-bedroom apartment with creaky floors and a coffee maker that's my best friend. I've always been the practical one, the one who doesn't make waves. Maybe that's why I feel invisible next to my half-sister Skylar, who's 27 and lives like she's starring in her own reality show. She's an influencer, always posing with oat milk lattes or designer sunglasses she got for free, racking up likes while I'm restocking antihistamines. Our mom, Victoria, a retired nurse with a voice that could stop traffic, acts like Skylar's the second coming. Me? I'm just there. Growing up, it was always Skylar's dance recitals, Skylar's prom queen crown, Skylar's big dreams. Mom would beam at her, saying, "You're going places, honey." I'd get a pat on the head and a, "You're doing fine, Madeline." Fine. That word's haunted me forever. I'm not bitter, not really, but it stings when Mom shares Skylar's Instagram posts with her book club before she even asks how my day was. He's a mechanic, all rough hands and quiet smiles, the kind of guy who'd fix your car and not overcharge you. We'd been solid, or so I'd thought. Pizza nights, dumb action movies, plans to maybe get a dog someday. He made me feel seen. Lately, though, Ethan's been off. He cancels plans, says he's swamped at the shop, but his texts are short, like he's typing with one hand and distracted. Last week I suggested a movie, and he said maybe next time, mods. I brushed it off. Work stress, right? But it gnawed at me, this feeling that something wasn't lining up. I mentioned it to Mom over coffee at her place, hoping for some wisdom. Her kitchen smells like lemon cleaner, always has, and she was scrolling through Skylar's latest post, some sponsored ad for teeth whitener. I said, "Ethan's been..." She didn't even look up. "Don't be dramatic, Madeline. Men get busy. You're overthinking it." Her voice had that edge, the one that says, "I'm being a problem." I stared at my mug, the coffee going cold, and mumbled, "Yeah, maybe." But it didn't sit right. I'm not the type to invent problems. I double-check prescriptions for a living, for God's sake. Details matter to me. Things got weirder at a family dinner a couple of weeks later. Mom's house is all floral curtains and framed photos, half of them Skylar's headshots. Skylar breezed in late, her phone glued to her hand, talking about a brand deal with some athleisure company. "They're flying me to Miami next month," she said, tossing her hair. Mom clapped like Skylar had cured cancer. "That's my girl, Miami." I poked at my lasagna, trying to care. Ethan was there too, sitting across from me, but he kept checking his phone, barely touching his food. I caught Skylar glancing at him, her lips twitching like she knew something I didn't. After dinner, while I was loading the dishwasher, Skylar was on the couch giggling at her phone. Mom was bragging to Ethan about Skylar's follower count, 30,000 and climbing. I tried to join in, saying, "Hey, Ethan, you still up for hiking this weekend?" He shrugged, eyes on his screen. "Dunno, work's crazy." Skylar chimed in, all sugary. "Oh, Ethan, you work too hard. You need a break." Her tone was off too familiar, and he smirked back at her. My stomach twisted, but I told myself I was being paranoid. Mom's words echoed, "Don't be dramatic." The real kick came a few nights later. I couldn't sleep, my shift had been hell, and I was overanalyzing Ethan's latest "sorry, busy" text. Around midnight, I grabbed my phone, thinking I'd call him just to hear his voice. Instead, I heard something else through my cracked window. Skylar's laugh, unmistakable, coming from the street. I peeked out, and there was Ethan's truck, parked a block away, the one with the dented fender. Skylar was leaning into the window, her hair catching the streetlight, giggling like they were sharing the world's best secret. My heart slammed against my ribs. Was I seeing this right? My sister? My boyfriend? I called Mom the next morning, my hands shaking as I stirred my coffee. "Mom, I saw Skylar with Ethan last night, outside, talking, laughing. It felt wrong." I waited for her to gasp, to be outraged, anything. Instead, she sighed, long and annoyed. "Madeline, stop it. Skylar's got her own life, and Ethan's probably just being friendly. You're always so jealous." "I'm not jealous, Mom. I'm worried." My voice cracked, but she cut me off. "Don't stir up trouble. Skylar's doing big things. Let it go." I hung up, staring at my kitchen counter, the cheap laminate chipped at the edges. Let it go? How do you let go of a feeling that's clawing at your chest? I wasn't crazy. I wasn't making this up, but Mom's voice, Skylar's laugh, Ethan's distance, they were all screaming the same thing. I wasn't worth the truth. I went to work that day, scanning prescriptions, smiling on autopilot, but inside, I was unraveling. Something was wrong, and nobody cared enough to listen. Not Mom, not Ethan, not even Skylar, who'd always gotten everything: her mom's love, the spotlight, maybe even my boyfriend. I didn't know what was coming, but I knew one thing. I was done being fine. I woke up with a pit in my stomach, the kind that makes coffee taste like regret. Last night's image, her leaning into his truck, laughing, played on a loop in my head. I wanted to be wrong. God, I wanted it to be nothing. But my gut wasn't buying it, and I'm not someone who ignores a bad feeling. So I did what I do best. That morning I called in sick, first time in forever, and drove to his place. He lives in a run-down apartment above the auto shop, all grease stains and mismatched furniture. I'd always thought it was charming, like him. I brought coffee, thinking maybe we'd talk, clear things up. My hands were sweaty on the steering wheel, but I told myself, just talk to him. You're overthinking. I parked across the street, grabbed the cups, and headed for the stairs. That's when I saw her car, her stupid red convertible, parked right out front like she owned the place. My heart stopped. I stood there, frozen, coffee burning my hands through the cardboard sleeves, as she slipped out of his door. She was fixing her hair, smirking, and he was behind her, shirtless, waving like it was no big deal. I dropped the coffee. It splattered on the pavement, dark and messy. I didn't scream. I didn't run up and confront them. I just stood there, my chest tight, watching her drive off. He didn't see me. He went back inside, shutting the door like nothing happened. I got in my car and drove, no destination, just moving so I wouldn't fall apart. My sister. My boyfriend. How long, how many times had I been the idiot, texting him goodnight while she was there? I pulled over at a gas station, my hands shaking so bad I could barely hold my... I wanted to call him, to yell, to demand answers, but all I could think was, Mom will know what to do. I went straight to her house, still in my pajamas, my eyes stinging. She was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for soup, her apron crisp and white. I didn't ease into it. I couldn't. I saw them, I said, my voice breaking. This morning, at his place. Her car was there, and she was leaving, and he was... They were together. I waited for her to drop the knife, to hug me, to be as shattered as I was. Instead, she set the knife down, slow, and turned to me with this look like I was a kid throwing a tantrum. "You're sure?" she said, but it wasn't a question. It was a challenge. "Of course, I'm sure," I snapped. "I saw her, Mom. I saw him." My voice was too loud, echoing in her perfect kitchen. She sighed, wiping her hands on a towel, and said, "Don't ruin her reputation over your paranoia. You've always had a thing about her, haven't you?" I blinked, my mouth open, no words coming out. "Paranoia? A thing? This isn't about jealousy," I said, quieter now, begging her to hear me. "Just sneaking around. I saw it." She crossed her arms. "You saw what you wanted to see. She's got a big life, bigger than yours. Don't drag her down because you're upset with him." I felt like I'd been slapped. "You're taking her side?" I whispered. She didn't answer, just turned back to her cutting board, chopping carrots like my world wasn't collapsing. "Keep this to yourself," she said finally. "For the family. Don't make a mess." Back at my apartment, I locked the door and sank onto the couch, my phone buzzing with his texts. "Hey, you okay?" Like he cared. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop, hands trembling, and logged into his cloud drive. We'd shared it for photos, stupid vacation selfies, him grinning at the lake. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for until I found it. A folder labeled mirror in his bed, tangled in the sheets, smiling at the camera like it was a game. 8 months. I'd been planning our anniversary dinner while they were, what? Laughing at me? I slammed the laptop shut, my breath coming too fast. How could she do this? My sister, who borrowed my clothes, who called me her best friend at Christmas, and him, quiet, steady him, who'd promised he wasn't like the rest? I wanted to scream, to throw something, but all I did was cry ugly sobs that hurt my ribs. She acted like nothing was wrong, posting her perfect life online while he ghosted me, his texts drying up like I... And Mom chose her over me. Like always. I sat there for hours, staring at that photo in my mind, the betrayal sinking deeper. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. They thought I'd stay quiet, roll over, let her keep her crown. But I wasn't invisible, not this time. I saved that photo to my drive, my fingers steady now. I didn't know what I'd do with it, not yet, but it felt like power, like proof. They'd lied to me, all of them, and I wasn't letting it go. Not anymore. I couldn't keep it in anymore. That photo burned a hole in my chest, and every time I saw her perfect Instagram posts, smiling, glowing, untouchable, I wanted to scream. I needed answers, not excuses. So I drove to her apartment, my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles ached. It was a sunny afternoon, the kind that should have felt normal, but nothing felt right anymore. I didn't call ahead. I wanted her off guard. She opened the door in yoga pants and a cropped top, her hair in a messy bun like she was filming a casual day reel. "Hey," she said, all bright and fake, like I was there for coffee and gossip. I didn't smile back. I pushed past her, my heart pounding, and stood in her living room, all white furniture and scented candles. "We need to talk," I said, my voice low, shaking. She tilted her head, still playing innocent. "What's up? You okay?" That's when I lost it. "Don't act like you don't know," I snapped. "I saw you at his place. I know, okay? You and him. How long?" Her face changed, just for a second, a flicker of something real, before she laughed, sharp and mean. "Oh, come on. You're blowing this way out of proportion. It was nothing, just a dumb fling ages ago. You're seriously mad about that? A fling?" The word hit like a punch, but her smirk was worse. "A fling?" I repeated, my voice rising. "You were in his bed, smiling for pictures while I was... What? Planning dates with him? You were..." She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. "God, you're so dramatic. It didn't mean anything. He wasn't even that into you." It felt like the floor dropped out. I wanted her to apologize, to cry, to show she cared, but she just stood there, acting like I was the problem. "How could you?" I whispered, tears burning my eyes. "How could you do this to me?" She shrugged. Actually shrugged. And said, "You need to chill. It's over. Move on." That's when the door swung open and Mom swinging like a weapon. "What's going on?" she barked, looking between us. I froze. I hadn't told her I was coming, but of course she'd show up. Her golden girl was in trouble. I turned to her, desperate. "She slept with him, Mom. I told you, and you didn't believe me, and now she's admitting it." I was shouting now, my voice cracking. I thought maybe now she'd see, she'd have to pick me just this once. But Mom's face hardened, and she pointed at me like I was a stranger. "Enough, Madeline, you're ruining everything. She's got her engagement party this weekend, and you're starting drama." "Engagement party?" I blinked, my head spinning. "What engagement?" I asked, quieter now, dread pooling in my gut. Mom scoffed, like I was slow. "To Liam. He proposed last night. It's all over her page. You'd know if you paid attention." I felt sick. I'd been avoiding her Instagram, too raw to scroll through her lies. She was getting married? To some guy I didn't even know? And Mom was acting like I was the one out of line? "You knew," I said to Mom, my voice flat. "You knew what she did, and you're still protecting her?" Mom crossed her arms, her lips tight. "You're making a scene. This isn't about you." I turned to her, the sister I used to braid hair with, the one I'd shared secrets with. "You're okay with this?" I asked. "Lying to me, to him, to everyone?" She didn't answer, just looked away, picking at her nails like I was boring her. That's when it broke, whatever was left holding me together. "You all lied," I yelled, tears streaming down my face. "You let me think I was crazy, and now you're throwing a party like it's fine." Mom grabbed my arm, her grip tight. "Lower your voice. You're embarrassing yourself." I yanked free, my breath ragged. "Embarrassing myself? You're both disgusting." I stumbled out, ignoring Mom's shouts to come back. I drove home, my vision blurry, my chest so tight I could barely breathe. I locked my door and sank to the floor, my phone buzzing with her texts, calm, fake ones, like, "Let's talk later, okay?" I didn't reply. I couldn't. Instead, I opened Instagram, and there it was. Her engagement post, a shiny ring, her hand on some guy's chest, the caption, "All hearts and forever starts now." Thousands of likes, comments gushing about her perfect life. I scrolled through, my hands shaking, seeing Mom's comment, "So proud of you, baby." Nothing for me. Not a word. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall, but I didn't care. I was screaming inside, every moment replaying her laugh, his smirk, Mom's cold eyes. They'd made me invisible, again, and now she was getting her fairy tale while I was left with nothing. I curled up on the couch, my face wet, my heart racing. I felt alone. Completely alone, like I didn't exist to them. But under the hurt, they thought I'd stay quiet, fade away like always. No, not this time. I didn't know how, but I was going to make them face what they'd done. I wasn't just some shadow in her story. I was done letting them win. I didn't cry anymore after that fight. Something in me shifted, like a switch, flipping from hurt to cold, hard focus. I was done begging for them to care, done being the one left bleeding. They'd built their perfect little world on my pain, and I wasn't going to let it stand. Her wedding was coming up, her big shiny moment, and I knew that's where I'd hit. Not out of spite, not really. It was about truth. They'd lied to me, to everyone, and I wasn't letting her walk down the aisle without consequences. I started small, methodical, like I was filling a prescription at work. First, I pulled everything I had, every piece of proof that could cut through her facade. That photo from his cloud drive, the one of her in his bed, was my anchor. I dug deeper, checking old texts I'd ignored, ones where she'd been too flirty, too familiar. I found a screenshot from months back, her messaging him about last night. All winks and heart emojis. Each find was a stab, but I didn't flinch anymore. I saved it all to a folder on my laptop labeled Receipts and kept going. Nights were the worst, or the best, depending on how you look at it. I'd sit on my couch, the glow of my screen the only light, piecing it together. I wasn't sleeping much, but I didn't care. This was my project, my way of taking back what they'd stolen. I hacked into an old email she'd used for us to share playlists, same password she always used, predictable, and found more. Snippets of plans, meetups of the O. Too close? I laughed, bitter, alone in my apartment. She'd known exactly what she was doing. I didn't want to just confront her again. Words hadn't worked. She'd laughed. Mom had shut me down. It had to be bigger, something she couldn't dodge. Her wedding was the stage. I'd seen the save the date on Mom's fridge, all calligraphy and pastel flowers, like a Pinterest board come to life. It was soon weeks away, and I knew it'd be packed with her followers, her new man's family, everyone buying her act. That's when I got the idea. A gift. Something elegant, undeniable, that'd unravel her in front of them all. I ordered a box online, black, sleek, with a satin lining, the kind you'd expect for jewelry or heirlooms. It cost more than I'd usually spend, but it felt right, like dressing the truth in something sharp. I printed the photos, not just the one, but a handful. Her in his arms, their texts blown up to show every word. I was careful, using a shop across town so no one would ask questions. The prints came out crisp, each one a blade. I laid them in the box, stacking them neat, and wrote a card in my best handwriting. Be more faithful than I ever had. Simple, No signature. It didn't need one. I planned it like a heist. The box would go to the reception, addressed to her new guy, marked urgent so it'd get opened in the chaos of gifts and toasts. I found the venue's delivery info online, some fancy banquet hall, and set it up through a courier, paying extra to keep my name out of it. Every step felt like reclaiming a piece of me, like I was finally the one in control. This was mine. Sometimes, late at night, I'd hesitate. I'd look at the box, tucked under my bed, and wonder if I was going too far. Would it hurt him? This guy I didn't know, who maybe didn't deserve it. But then I'd remember her shrug, her laugh. Mom's cold. Enough. They'd chosen this, not me. They'd left me alone, thinking I'd break quietly. I wasn't breaking anymore. I was building something, justice maybe, or just the end of their lives. The day before the wedding, I dropped the box at the courier's, my heart steady for the first time in weeks. I wore sunglasses, kept my hood up, like I was in some spy movie, but it wasn't about drama. It was about being done. I went home, poured a glass of wine, and sat on my balcony, the summer air warm against my skin. I didn't feel joy, not exactly, but I felt right. I imagined the moment it had happened, her face when the box opened, his confusion, the whispers spreading like wildfire. I wouldn't be there. I didn't need to be. The truth would do the work. I slept that night, deep and dreamless, the first real rest in forever. The morning of the wedding, I stayed offline, no Instagram, no texts. I didn't want updates, didn't want to see her in white, playing the part. Instead, I cleaned my apartment, scrubbed the counters, threw out old takeout containers. It felt like clearing space for something new, though I didn't know what. By evening, I was back on the couch, wine in hand, waiting for call, not for drama, just for the weight to lift. I'd done my part. They'd face theirs soon enough. The morning after the wedding, my phone buzzed like a beehive, but I didn't check it. Not yet. I sat on my couch, coffee gone cold, staring at the wall like it held answers. I'd sent the box, done the thing I'd planned for weeks, and now the world was moving on without me. I didn't feel like a hero, didn't feel like I'd won. It was quieter than that, heavier, like dropping a stone into a lake and waiting for ripples you might never see. By noon, I gave in and looked. Texts from old friends, a cousin, even a coworker. Bits and pieces of chaos. Did you hear what happened? She's freaking out online. He left during the reception. I didn't reply. I opened Instagram, her page, expecting a meltdown, but it was silent. No new posts, no stories, just that last engagement photo frozen in time, comments piling up with question marks and heart emojis from people who didn't know. I scrolled to his profile. Blank now, like he'd vanished. The box had landed hard. Mom called around 3, her voice sharp through the voicemail. What did you do? You've ruined everything. I didn't pick up. I listened to it twice, then deleted it, my thumb steady. Ruined everything? She'd picked her side long ago, and it wasn't mine. I blocked her number, then hers too. Not out of anger, not anymore. Just because I was done carrying their weight. I didn't need their apologies or their blame. I needed space. The days after were strange, like waking up in someone else's life. I went to work, scanned prescriptions, smiled at customers, but it felt hollow, that job, that town. It was all tied to them, to the me who'd let herself be invisible. I started looking online, not for gossip, but for something else. Job listings, apartments, cities I'd never seen. Columbus caught my eye, close enough but far enough. A place I could start over. I applied to a pharmacy tech job on a whim, and when they called for an interview, I said yes before I could overthink it. I quit my job a week later, packed my apartment in a weekend, just a few boxes and a suitcase. The lease was month to month, so I walked away clean. I sold my couch, donated half my clothes, kept only what felt like mine. Driving to Columbus, my car stuffed to the roof, I didn't look back. The highway stretched out, gray and endless, and for the first time in forever, I breathed easy. No one knew me where I was going. No one expected me to be fine. My new place was small, a studio with bare walls and a view of a parking lot, but it was mine. I unpacked slowly, hung a cheap print of a sunflower, bought a journal from a dollar store. I started writing not about them, but about me. What I felt, what I wanted. It wasn't pretty, all raw thoughts and messy ink, but it was honest. I wrote about the box, how it felt to send it, how I'd thought it'd fixed. It hadn't, not really. It had just cleared the way, like burning a bridge. So, you can't go back. I heard things here and there. A friend texted that she was taking a break from social media. Her brand deals drying up, her new guy was gone, moved out of state, no ring in sight. Mom was telling people I'd overreacted, but no one seemed to care much. Their world kept turning, smaller now, cracked. I didn't smile at that, didn't gloat. It was about them facing what they'd done, even if they never admitted it. Work was different here, bussier, less personal. But I liked it. I studied for a certification, something to move up, maybe manage a pharmacy someday. I wasn't chasing dreams like she did, but I was building something real. Nights I'd walk to a coffee shop nearby, the kind with mismatched chairs and too loud music. I'd sit with my journal, scribbling thoughts, watching people laugh and argue and live. One night I wrote, "I'm enough," and stared at it, testing the words. They felt true, finally, like a knot inside me had loosened. It wasn't healed, not completely. I'd catch myself tensing at a text notification, expecting Mom's voice or her excuses. I'd scroll past happy couple photos online and feel a pang, wondering if I'd ever trust like that again. But I didn't hate them anymore. Hate takes energy, and I was saving mine for me. I started small, bought a plant, joined a book club, let myself laugh when a barista flirted, his smile shy but warm. I didn't flirt back. Not yet. But I didn't look away either. Looking back, the box wasn't about her, not really. It was about me refusing to disappear. I'd spent so long in her shadow, letting Mom's favoritism and his betrayal define me, that I'd forgotten I could choose different. I didn't need their love to be whole, I needed mine. The journal filled up page after page, and one night I wrote, "I'm not fine. I'm better." I closed it, set it on the shelf, and went to bed, the city humming outside. Tomorrow was just another day, but it was mine, and that was enough. If this hit close to home, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and let's talk. I'm here, and I listen.